WrestleMania season begins now. Monday Night Raw, just hours away. WWE's Day 1 event. A big main event is planned, but an even bigger return to WWE is scheduled. Paul Levesque McMahon himself teasing this big return. So 3H's might have found himself into a pickle. Might have backed himself into that corner. Because now he has to deliver. And believe me when I say anticipation is running wild, brother. We'll see who Paul Levesque McMahon has. If you guys have been keeping up on the news cycle today, there is a front-running name. We'll talk about who that name is, and if it's not, who it could be. I have the full preview to Raw for tonight's show, Day 1 event. There's some other top stories, too, big stories running rampant in the news cycle that I do want to touch base on as well. But first and foremost, again, Happy New Year to each and every one of my subscribers out there, the Amplified unit, especially my channel members, everybody that holds a gold card in those wallets. Much love, much appreciation, much respect, and let's whoop that ass in 2024. Number 2, Anthony Boley, special shout out. Appreciate the coffees, man. Never needed, always appreciated. And that super thanks down below in the last upload, or maybe it was 2 uploads ago. But Anthony Boley, I caught those coffees. I appreciate it, man. Let's whoop that ass in 2024. Salute. Now, quickly before I go over Monday Night Raw tonight, guys, big change for WWE commentary going forward. As we start tonight, Michael Cole will be exclusive to Monday Night Raw. There will no longer be a 3-man booth on SmackDown even. It's going to be a 2-man booth on the red brand and a 2-man booth on the blue brand. So Kevin Patrick, we haven't heard of any other changes as of yet. So Michael Cole could have just ended 2023 just trying to train Kevin Patrick a little bit more. Seems to be what was going on. If you notice the last several months, ever since Cole was working with that 3-man team, he was just letting Kevin Patrick be the guy. So you might just see Patrick and Corey Graves now do their thing where Michael Cole and Barrett will still be on the red brand. And that's what it's going to be going forward. No more Michael Cole on the blue brand. That's what we are hearing. We heard that early this morning. Those reports were actually backed up hours later. So it looks to be pretty reputable. Michael Cole solely on the red brand. And they're going to go back to 2-man booths for both shows. Also, guys, interesting note, Elias is ready to hit the independents. Old school, WWE, not too old school, last year. Part of the releases, unfortunately. I always like Elias. But the time has come for him to lace up those boots and start whooping that ass again. He's ready to compete. Elias will hit the indies as Elijah. He put up a post hours ago, and that is going to be his wrestling persona going forward. Elijah. Be interesting to see if he runs rampant on the indies. Does he show up to a bigger promotion right from the jump? We'll see. Elias, now Elijah. MJF was recently removed from Alternative Entertainment Wrestling AEW's roster page. That is all storyline. Relax. It looks like he has already signed with Tony Khan's promotion or is going to. They just have to dot those I's, cross those T's. But the bidding war of 2024, as fun as that did sound, it looks like it's just going to be a little bit of story. Then you mix in the storyline that he's in currently with Adam Cole. Of course, that just, the unveiling, if you will, the reveal was just Saturday night being Adam Cole, and then MJF is going to be off for a little bit, recovering from a bunch of minor injuries. So we hope the best for him. But it's just, there's so much that needs to be tied up. There's no way that was writing him off. Not like Andrade, which we'll talk about in a minute. So he will be right back to AEW. They removed him from the roster page. They're just going to hype up this bidding war. Spoiler, He is staying right there with AEW. If he hasn't already signed the contract, it's basically all printed up, just needs that signature. MJF staying with AEW, as much as it's a fun little behind-the-scenes storyline, the bidding war of 2024. He is not going to WWE, not yet. He will eventually. Cody Rhodes knows that as well, a good friend of MJF, of course, and several others have said the same thing. Eventually, you know, that's one of MJF's goals. That's one of those, not bucket list, but that's one of those things where MJF is going to want to prove that he can do what he's doing in AEW over in WWE. Even if they try to book him worse off or put him in these weird predicaments, he's so good. He's going to prevail and put everything on his back. So that's one of those obstacles/goals that MJF is going to want to check off. So eventually, but it looks like the bidding war of 2024 isn't such a war after all. Removed from the page, but he's still part of the company, and he'll be back, and he'll finish up this whole Adam Cole thing, whichever way they decide to go with it. But MJF removed. That's going to be a hot topic over the next several months, baby. He's coming right back. Also, guys, there was a memo to the entire company regarding WWE's company. Nick Khan sent this out, and this is regarding Kevin Dunn's departure. I can't believe I'm even saying that, right? Kevin Dunn leaving the company. The writing was on the wall once Vincent Kennedy McMahon took off. That was like one of the right-hand men of Vincent Kennedy. And, Kevin Dunn's getting up there in age. He's done everything for this company, from WWE, from Raw to SmackDown to NXT, all the pay-per-views. He's even done a bunch of work for the house shows. This dude is WWE production. And as much as we have fun with him, and he started to get too much power, and he started to abuse that in certain areas, so I totally get it. In many ways, it's good that he's leaving, a fresh start right at the top of the year. But on the other hand, production-wise, he was really good at what he did. So this is big. And of course, again, he has a lot of pull. It's not just production. Kevin Dunn has a lot of pull behind the scenes, and that's why this memo was sent out to the entire company, guys. And the latest reports we're getting is there's 2 separate meetings that were being held. Probably at least one of them has already been held, because it's a little later in the day. Nick Khan and Paul Levesque McMahon both are heading both meetings. One is for the suits and ties, employees, things like that, and then a separate meeting for the roster. That shows you the presence and how big Kevin Dunn was to that company. If you didn't quite know how big his presence was in that company, 2 meetings today and a massive memo sent out company-wide. Kevin Dunn departing WWE, and this is a big ordeal within that company today. The latest reports we're getting is that inside that locker room, people are shocked. From the wrestlers to suits and ties, everybody is shocked. A lot of people didn't see it coming. I just find that hard, but something like this, Kevin Dunn must have had this plan for a while, ever since VKM probably took off. And I find it hard to believe he wouldn't have told some people and that wouldn't have leaked out a little bit. But I gotta believe this was somewhat of his plan. But a lot of people it took off guard is what we're hearing, or caught them off guard. Anyway, that's the Kevin Dunn situation. And I don't have a ton of time, so what I'm going to do, there was a few more stories I wanted to get to, but I really want to talk the Raw preview in a few hours. And because I don't have a lot of time, I want to make sure I get all these points in. First and foremost, Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre is the headlining main event tonight. That is for the World Heavyweight Championship. Sethington, Drew. Now you expect Seth to win this match. Full transparency, full disclosure on what I heard before the holidays is WWE was actually thinking Drew McIntyre wins the championship and they do a 3-way at WrestleMania, Drew, Sethington, CM Punk. Punk and Seth won't have to fight over who's the top face because they have a common enemy in the dastardly heel Drew McIntyre. To which I say, no, no, and no. Seth vs. CM Punk sells itself. It is the mega money match. It is a bona fide WrestleMania main event. Do not water it down with the Drew McIntyre. And I like Drew. Drew's heel character we're getting is the best work I've seen from Drew in a very long time, if not ever. And it sucks if you have to really work harder to try to find a spot for Drew at WrestleMania, but you still have to. But sorry, that's the case. Sorry, not sorry. That's their dilemma. If you don't have something for Drew, that's on you, the company. But do not start sticking him in business he doesn't belong in. This is Seth Rollins, CM Punk, WrestleMania. Do not muddy the waters. We did that before. Edge versus Roman sold itself. They added Daniel Bryan at the last second. He didn't deserve or earn that title shot. To this day, Bryan Danielson, says, I have no idea why I was in that match, and it felt odd the entire time. I gotta give that dude props for telling it like it is. He was in the match, added last minute, and even he said it didn't feel right. That's because it wasn't. Drew McIntyre, I'm telling you, this is some good work. He's getting a lot of people to do a double take now on Drew and his work. Don't halt the momentum that Drew has by putting him in something that is just going to make fans revolt against. Any other situation, I would say Drew winning this title, I'm fine with it. Start the new year off with a bang, I get it. Have a heel like Drew drop the title several months later at WrestleMania to a babyface, I get it. Unfortunately, or should I say fortunately for fans, there's a really cool storyline at play, Seth and CM Punk. And if you take the title away from those two at WrestleMania, it just feels diluted. So in this scenario, you got to have a Hogan Warrior WrestleMania 6 situation. Face versus face, Sethington versus CM Punk. Paul Levesque McMahon does nothing but face versus face matches lately, and they all end with a handshake. I call it the mutual respect era. But the one match that we need to see face versus face, now all of a sudden you don't want to do it. You want to put a dastardly heel in there? Not needed. And by the way, I'm okay if Seth wants to turn heel before Mania, or even Punk, even though Punk's got momentum. So this is the chatter that was going on before the holidays, guys, when the match was made. Time has passed. Hopefully we have smartened up, and that's no longer even on the table. Have something fun planned, entertaining, a cliffhanger, but Sethington needs to walk away with that title. Also tonight, there's another championship match. Rhea Ripley will defend her women's championship against Ivy Nile. Now, you could easily say Ivy has not earned or deserved a championship shot. Maybe. Or yeah, you're right. But still badass. I mean, Ivy Nile, we're really going to see if she's main roster ready tonight. She's going to be in there with Rhea Ripley. Man, I hope they have something fun and special planned. This could be really good, or it could go off the rails. 2 championship matches tonight. Speaking of the ladies, Becky Lynch will be taking on Nia Jax tonight. This is a match that's 5 years in the making. I don't know how many people need to or want to see this match, but 5 years ago, I think it was, when Becky Lynch had her nose broke by Nia Jax, because Nia Jax just didn't want to be swarmed by wrestlers doing what they were told to do. And Nia Jax just felt like, just get away from me. You're in the ring on live TV. That's your brothers and your sisters out there. I mean, you can't just haul off. And that's what she did. And she legit just broke Becky's face. Becky was out of a huge Survivor Series match with Ronda Rousey. And man, I mean, it made the iconic moment, but it tarnished Ronda and Becky. It was never the same. And even when they faced each other, what was it, WrestleMania? They faced each other a couple times. It was never the same. The hype was for that Survivor Series. So you got the iconic bloodied Becky, but on the other hand, man, it just took away Ronda and Becky at the time that it needed to be. So here we are 5 years later. We'll see what they have planned tonight. Becky versus Nia Jax. Speaking of the ladies some more, another ladies match, Shayna Baszler and Zoey Stark will be taking on Tegan Nox and Natty in a tag team match to determine the number 1 contenders for Chance and Carter's newly won tag titles. And then the big moment tonight, the big segment will be who the returning superstar is. If you guys don't know, several days ago, it was reported that a major former champion is returning to the company and returning Monday. It was a specific date, Monday night on Raw, Day 1 event. And then in an odd turn of events, I'll give you the exact quote, Paul Levesque McMahon actually responded to this report. And Levesque McMahon says, and I quote, not going to confirm or deny the rumors of a former WWE champion appearing at WWE Raw Day 1, but I will say to stay tuned. New Year's Day, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, USA Network, plugging. So when he says not going to confirm or deny the rumor, he's confirming it. Otherwise, you would deny it, or you would just not say anything about it, and then you're not held accountable. So right there, he's telling you. And then when he says, but I will say, stay tuned. All right, well, now the anticipation will be there and nobody shows up. So he's pretty much confirming a former WWE champion. We don't know what champion, a world champion, an IC champion, a tag champion, male, female, somebody like a Brock Lesnar, who we've seen return 8,000 times. Is it just Brock Lesnar? Could it be a massive female name like Sasha Banks? Returning tonight. All indication looks like if the talks are going to fall through at WWE, her only landing spot, I just don't think Impact or TNA would have enough money. It would have to be Tony Khan writing the check, and I guess she would go to Alternative Entertainment Wrestling. They just don't book the women properly. So it's almost like going from one situation where you weren't booked properly in WWE to just going to the same thing over in AEW. I don't know, but man, could you imagine if Sasha was to show up tonight at the Rumble? That would be one of those shock returns like CM Punk, because we're just hearing like they're so far apart on money. But could it just be something simple like a Brock? Could it be a massive like Sasha Banks? Could it be an NXT champion, not even WWE? Just says... No, it does say a former WWE champion, but they do put NXT under the umbrella of WWE. All these questions, right? I guess that's what makes it exciting. That's what gets you anticipating. Now, the lead candidate, name-wise, is actually, you ready for this? Andrade. Now, I know you're thinking, well, he just wrestled Saturday night, right? Lana turned on him, went back to Miro, and then Tony Khan confirmed he's no longer with the company. Contract ends end of the year. Well, that was like that night or the next night. That was New Year's Eve. So end of the year, just say it ends this weekend. And he's totally clear. He, not released, not terminated or just cut. Nothing like that where he would have a clause in his contract. No compete. No, it sounds like he fulfilled his obligations. Now, it wasn't supposed to be till into 2024, but then reports said that he had a major blow-up with Tony Khan, and he just doesn't want to be there. And that report, the first reports came 24 hours after we found out Charlie Flair, has re-signed with the WWE. The extension is put in place for a lot more money. She's going to be with that company for a while. And then all of a sudden, we started hearing Andrade like, I want out. So I think something happened with the contract where he was able to end his contract with WWE or AEW, and no real punishment, anything like that. Tony Khan had praise for him and said he's always welcome back. So it sounds like even though it may have been heated, it was a truthful, blunt, very honest discussion. I don't want to be here. I want to be with the wifey, Charlotte Flair. I want to be with my old pal, Paul Levesque. I just want to be at WWE, man. I just don't think you're booking me properly, dude. So the lead candidate, even Meltzy boy, this was just about an hour and a half ago. Meltzy's like, from what I'm hearing, is the lead dude is Andrade. So that's, even he, I mean, when you got all spectrums of reports going, wait a second, I know he just wrestled Saturday night, but we're actually hearing he's like the lead name we're hearing for tonight. He could show up. So it's not Lex Luger where he's literally showing up on Monday or the same night that he's on Raw. He's showing up to Nitro. Like Ravishing Rick Rude. He's on Raw and Nitro in the same night. It's not like that. But I mean, this dude was just wrestling on a pay-per-view for AEW and all of a sudden he shows up in WWE on that Monday. If you're Tony Khan, I think I would at least ask, listen, like, all the best. You're always welcome back. Can you just not show up like in 48 hours to the competition? Can you just not do that? Or is it just Andrade's responsibility to know maybe I shouldn't do that? But I don't think Andrade cares, guys. He's just happy to be back. And could you imagine if they signed him already when he was wrestling on Saturday night? Signed him that quickly and put him on Monday Night Raw, WWE television. But we're hearing it could be Andrade tonight. Those are some of the names that I got for you guys. I don't know. Could you imagine if AJ Lee, man? I mean, she's been teasing a return recently. That she laced up the ultra high top Chuck Taylors. She released the video of her and CM Punk training. She's obviously going to be ready for Royal Rumble. That's the most likely scenario. But does she show up tonight and put herself into that Rumble match? Exciting, right? We hope that it does deliver. By Paul Levesque McMahon amplifying this announcement, now he has to deliver. So we'll see, guys. Again, that is just a few hours away. So I'm going to end it right there. I'll be back tomorrow. Don't worry. We're going to review Monday Night Raw, top to bottom, beginning to finish. And I'm hoping that this is a good... It's day one, literally. It's the event is called day one, but this is January 1st. It is a new year. This is the year. There's no excuses. The rosters are stacked. Let's go. Put those characters in storylines we care about, man. Make those characters that are good in main eventers and faces, and let's make them larger than life now. It starts with care. Effort has to be put in. Resources. It's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of work. Let's go. Let's do it. Day one tonight. I'm looking forward to it. I really want to see if they care as much as a lot of us fans care about where these companies go in the calendar year. It all starts tonight. You only get one chance at a first impression. WrestleMania season begins now. Top guys, we're out. BC saying check you tomorrow. Peace.